For an update on the incoming winter storm, the First Warn 5 weather team has been on top of the forecast all week, tracking some potentially big snow and ice totals. Right now, Kansas City officials are laying out their plan for preparation and cleanup. Let's listen in. Okay, well, you see here as officials are starting to line up there at the Salt Dome, where they will lay out their plan. We are expecting to hear from Mayor Quentin Lucas, as well as the city manager there. Sheree Honeycutt, the city spokesperson.
You're going to hear from Mayor Quentin Lucas, and then you'll hear from possibly our council members, and then city manager Brian Platt. Without further ado, Mayor Quentin Lucas.
Oh boy. Everybody, how are you all doing today? So you've heard before of snowpocalypse, snowmageddon, snow my God. Today here in Kansas City, we're here to say it's snow problem. We in Public Works and in all of our departments have this ready, and we are making sure that not only today we have folks who are out pre-treating, but that we're working collaboratively across departments and across agencies to make sure we're ready for the upcoming storm. The first thing we want to make sure to the people of Kansas City is this: make sure that you yourselves are prepared in your own homes, make sure that you're addressing the issues necessary as we confront the storm. The forecast calls for a substantial range of numbers, and frankly, we are prepared for any of it. That includes a high snowfall, but also, of course, freezing rain, ice, and other such issues. That's why you see pre-treatment being done right now by Kansas City's crews. Pre-treatment for the storm started this morning at 7 a.m. Thank you to all who have been part of it. The folks behind us assembled are part of our Kansas City snow team. They have been working since this summer to make sure that we have plans for how we best deploy our staff, how we make sure that all of our trucks and routes are covered, and frankly, that we have enough staff that can come out and cover. Some coming outside of their typical areas, some who sometimes have jobs inside the City Hall building are out helping us on trucks later on this week. These pre-treatment efforts will switch to 24/7 snowplow operations and ice treatment once the storm begins. A few asks that we have for members of the public. One, if you don't need to be out when the storm has started, please make sure you're not. We'll try to make sure our streets are cleared as expeditiously as possible, but at the same time, recognize that that itself does take some time, particularly as we see more accumulations or ice accumulating throughout the city. The other thing we ask you to do is make sure that you check on neighbors and loved ones. Make sure that they're doing all right, and particularly before the storm, if you have the chance to make sure you're talking about plans with people, that is something that will be helpful for us. We know that this will be a real challenge in Kansas City and throughout the region, but I also have great confidence in the people we've assembled. In recent years, we have seen them deploy new trucks, deploy more people, and always having dedicated staff at Kansas City that will work overtime to make sure we have those issues addressed. We'll come back with any questions that you might have later. I also want to make sure I acknowledge you think of Public Works and Parks and Water and a number of our departments. We also have our partners at Ride KC, the KCATA here, who are a big part of the work that we do. I'll also note our public library systems create opportunities for warming areas, as does Parks and Rec. So we'll have a number of different things that we're thinking about with the storm. It's not just people driving, it's also making sure that people have heat, that they can stay warm during a challenging set of days ahead. With more information on our storm response is unless there's a city council person who wants to speak, okay, then that means we're stuck with City Manager Brian Platt.
Oh, wow. Thank you. This applause is for me. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. So if the forecasts deliver what the predictions say, this has the potential to be one of the most significant storms in Kansas City's history. But I'll say that we've never been more prepared. We've never had more drivers, more trucks, more salt on hand in our history, period. We've got 40,000 tons of salt, 8,000 tons of ice span, and we've got 300 snow removal trucks. We've got 400 drivers. We are ready to go, and we've been preparing, as the mayor said, since this summer. This is a multi-departmental effort. You can see behind me some of the groups and people that are a part of this operation, hundreds of people across all city departments, dropping everything to pitch in with snow removal. As the mayor also mentioned, we started pre-treating our roads 48 hours in advance of this snow event this morning. A lot of neighborhoods are already covered. We will be out 24 hours a day until every street and every neighborhood is clear. We do ask that people stay off the roads as much as you possibly can, unless there's an emergency, just to make sure that we can have our crews clear the roads as safely and efficiently and quickly as possible. I think that's everything. Any questions?
Questions?
You guys have started with pre-treating the roads. We've heard that freezing rain may come in first. Is that a concern with washing away the salt in that pre-treatment?
Yeah, you know, we have no choice but to pre-treat the roads no matter what is coming. What you'll see a lot of is ice band being applied to our streets. It's that blue salt. It's magnesium chloride. It's a little bit different material. It's not only less caustic to the environment, but it works better at lower temperatures. And so we've got to get that down before any accumulation falls. But we will have trucks and crews out 24 hours a day. So as whatever falls comes first, we will be continuing to treat no matter what's happening, if it's snow, if it's ice, if it's freezing rain, whatever it is. Is anyone from Ride KC here?
Yeah, right over here.
Oh, yeah.
Repeat the question if you could, though.
What's the plan for Ride KC operations, especially once we do start to get snowfall, just how people can know what we need to travel if the ride?
Good question, thank you. So we will be putting out news releases on a regular basis and through Twitter, regular social media channels, ridekc.org. We update continuously to let people know what's going on. As of now, our plan, of course, is to operate as normally as we possibly can. We will move into a snow type of service if necessary, which, by the way, is the same as Sunday service and the same as holiday service, to make it simple for people. Most regular riders understand how the routes and schedules change with those different scenarios, so that's what we'll be doing. But we intend to operate as normal. One thing that we will be doing is our East Village Transit Center will be open on Sunday, 8 to 5, which is it's not normally open for a warming for people waiting for the bus there.
Is there any word as far as the Snow Angels volunteer for the aftermath as far as like sheltering the driveways of senior citizens or along that nature?
Yeah, we've got a new program that we're implementing this year called Snow Angels, where we're matching volunteers throughout the community with people who might need help and assistance shoveling their walkways and their driveways. There are a lot of people who have limited mobility in Kansas City that still need to get out of their houses and get out into the environment and to have access to services. And we're trying to make sure that we support them too. It's not just our streets, it's all the way from your front door. Forrest Decker is here, I think, if you want to chat more about the program. How many people we got? Yeah, come on. He's cool.
Yeah, thanks. I think city manager kind of covered it, but yeah, you can go to the city website. You can sign up to be a volunteer or to have your address plowed, and it just triggers at any point there's 2 inches of snow. The person who needs their service or their lawn plowed or their driveway plowed or their sidewalk plowed or whatever is matched up with a volunteer from the community, and they just come over and shovel off the walk. So.
Mayor, you can answer this if you're able. I know in the past the snow varies from south to north all over the area. Just what are the plans to make sure that the removal is all over the district and not just in certain areas?
You know, I think a few things. The city manager's covered some of it, but certainly this group looks at the forecast. There's a plan for how they deploy based upon the storm. As we see accumulations in different areas, then we'll make sure that it's properly addressed. There is perhaps an old tale that suggests that there are some parts of the city that are plowed or treated with special attention as compared to others. That is not accurate. What it's based on is where is the snow fallen, where does it need to be treated, and our goal is to address the entire city, whether you are at the far north, far south, any part of the city in between. And so we'll make sure we do that. We will note, of course, there always is prioritization as to how you address the city streets, right? Arterial is having that highest priority. There's certain areas, if you're somebody who lives on the end of a cul-de-sac, you might be later in the range. But the plan is that every part of the city gets addressed. And in many ways, that is the importance of the new snow team strategy, which looks to having, of course, your trucks that can address major thoroughfares, streets, you'll see them out. But we also have vehicles. I saw a Parks truck actually driving through my neighborhood today that was doing some of the pre-treatment work in residential streets. So we're looking to hit every part of the city equitably and fairly, but of course based upon where we're seeing snow, ice, higher accumulations and beyond.
In the fall, we saw career fair for snow hop riders. Are you all fully staffed? Are you basically staffed? What is that looking like for this?
Yep, we are absolutely fully staffed. We've actually got extra drivers on standby at this point as we need, as people may have issues to get in. So we are more than prepared.
Can someone talk about the plan for the houseless community? Because we have snow coming in several days of super cold weather.
Yeah, we have our emergency cold weather shelter open at Hope Faith 24 hours a day. You can come there if anyone needs to get out of the cold weather. We also have all of our community centers open for warming centers, not just for homeless people, but for anybody. And we've got Josh Henges, who's our homelessness prevention coordinator, if you want to say a little bit more about that.
Spell your name, too.
Josh Henges, JOSHHENGES, Houseless Prevention Coordinator, City of Kansas City. Yeah, this is another year where we're doing cold weather shelter. We've got an incredible mayor and city council that supports these efforts. We've got 400 beds that'll be open and available. We've got 9 locations across the metro. The best way to get this information is kcmo.gov/0KC. It's got a breakdown of the beds that are available, who to call. We've also got a hotline there that's updated every single day on what's open, when it's open. So please encourage folks to use that resource. And I'll say this too, the unhoused community knows pretty well how this is. Folks who are maybe viewers probably don't, but don't confuse that. They know really well how this system works and doesn't work. So please feel confident. The other thing I want to let everyone know is we're continuing to do street outreach to encourage people to come in. The goal, of course, is to get folks to where they can go to the shelter before all the nastiness comes in. So we're going to continue doing that until we're unable to physically get to folks. Same thing that we did last year. Thanks.
Other questions? Yeah.
Y'all mentioned that y'all are fully staffed, but MoDOT says, they're facing some staffing shortages. Just what's that coordination like, making sure that, both entities work together?
And saw that question coming from one of your colleagues. I mean, here's what we'll start in saying. Kansas City will make sure that we work collaboratively with everyone to try to address the issue as best we can. That starts at home. So we're making sure that we're working across Kansas City agencies, across Kansas City departments to make sure that we're doing efficient and effective snow removal. The state of Missouri, through MoDOT, has a responsibility to ensure our highways and interstates are passable and are not public safety threats. I understand staffing challenges. We face those in a number of different ways, but Kansas City over the years has done real work to try to address them. One, offering overtime for employees of any different levels to make sure that they can help address it, getting more folks that are trained up with CDL licenses to try to address it. And I just say this, I have a very clear perspective in the way that government's supposed to work. What we can't do is stop delivering basic services because we don't have the staffing to do it. Every one of the directors, deputy directors, and supervisors who stands behind me at some point has not been at 100% staffing. And I would suggest to you probably none of them right now have 100% staffing. What that does not mean is that we stop responding to 911 calls, we start closing parks, we stop addressing snow events. I would encourage any jurisdiction that is having trouble with this to make sure that they're addressing them in advance. That's why we meet during the summer to do it. In the meantime, we would hope that MoDOT is communicating with us rather clearly as to where they predict weaknesses may be in the system, to the extent that there's some level of clarity as to what's getting treated, what's not, where they might want support. We certainly welcome a call from them to do that. What I don't think anyone in this region wants, inside Kansas City or outside of it, is for folks to just say, well, maybe they're going to do 40% of the work because staffing is an issue. So I heard that information that you shared. I frankly find it disappointing as a Missourian, and I hope that we find ways that we can address it long term, because certainly the 510,000 people in Kansas City who pay taxes to the state of Missouri to help support this issue would expect the type of treatment and way to address this storm that we're seeing from our local government jurisdictions throughout western Missouri as well. Yeah. Any others?
Just got one more point. We've got an amazing app, the KCMO app, that you can use if you see any issues out in the community, any issues with snow or anything else. It's a great way to report those things. As the storm ends later into the week, it's a great place to report slick spots, ice, snow, all those things as well. And I also want to give a big shout out to Director Mike Shaw and the entire Public Works team, who is here 24 hours a day, every day. They're already in the Snow Command Center across the way here. We've been talking about this moment since August. We really think about this day and night for months and months in advance of the big storm like this. So we are, as I said before, we're more prepared than we've ever been before.
And thank you to our great staff here, too. Appreciate you.
City lay out their plan for this winter storm. The city manager saying that if the forecasts hold up, this could be one of the most significant storms in Kansas City's history. Nonetheless, leaders say they are prepared for this storm. The mayor even coining the term snow problem. They say they're ready. Warren Sears joining us now. Warren, I understand that winter storm watch has now been upgraded to a warning.
Yep, exactly. That's just as confidence continues to grow, Zach. So we're getting closer to the event between the National Weather Service, between broadcast, media, meteorologists here. We're all starting to see and continue to see an increased risk this weekend for travel. A large mess is likely on our hands. So a winter storm warning has now been upgraded for everybody watching this broadcast. The counties from the National Weather Service in Topeka and all the counties from the National Weather Service in Pleasant Hill here in Kansas City. They have coordinated, and now we are all under that winter storm warning. Again, that is the more imminent messaging system there, from a watch to a warning. And that's because we're now concerned about a wide variety of things, but significant snow, even some significant ice in certain spots, blowing snow, reduced visibilities, and bitter cold, all working together to create not a great setup for Saturday, part of Saturday and Sunday. So again, winter storm warnings now in place for everybody in the KCTV viewing area, in a lot of Kansas, and a good chunk of northwestern Missouri. That will go into effect Saturday evening and last all the way till 3 a.m. on Monday. When will it get bad? Right now we're fine. Friday's fine. Travel this evening's fine. Saturday morning travel also looks fine. Freezing rain may begin into the afternoon on Saturday, so that is why we have that first warm weather day. It's looking increasingly likely to have that freezing rain and then a transition over to all snow. Sunday looks like a horrible travel day. It's not going to be good. Do not plan to even drive down the street. It's just not looking great. Please hunker down. Plan to hunker down on Sunday. If you know anyone flying in or out on Sunday, it's not looking great. So cancellations, delays very much on the table. Then into your Monday morning, we're talking bitter cold. Snow wraps up, and that commute likely will not have actual falling snow, but brutal cold. We're talking wind chills below 0 down to 15 below. So let's talk through where you live and what you can expect. Likely a bad snowstorm to the north of Interstate 70. I'll use Interstate 70 a lot throughout this weather hit to kind of give you a ballpark there, because it will be a fine dividing line we expect. So a worse ice storm down to the south, a little bit less snow, and we find ourselves in Kansas City and along I-70 right in the middle. So there's going to be a mix. There's likely going to be a little freezing rain and then a transition over to all snow at some point on your Sunday. Let's talk timing. So again, you start Saturday dry. It should be not an issue until after lunch. You start to see this next system, our larger storm system, spread in, and it will be closer to the freezing point. That gives you that mixed bag of precipitation. This is tough to forecast because a degree or two makes a massive difference, even 1,000 feet off the ground. So we do expect there to be a little freezing rain. A good band of freezing rain, I should say, along and south of Interstate 70. You can see, though, into Saturday evening, more to the north, we're not as concerned about ice. You'll start to get more snow first. That's why your totals will be higher. Then into the overnight, transition over to all snow to start Sunday morning. This is the big question mark. When does that transition period happen? If you get freezing rain or a mixed bag of precipitation to last into midday Sunday, that will hurt your totals. If we transition over to more snow earlier, by the time we wake up or before we wake up, that would lead to higher snowfall totals. But we do expect a transition over eventually throughout the day, and in through the afternoon and evening, it will continue to snow, finally tapering off probably by 11 p.m. And then again, that Monday morning commute looks all right. Weekend snow totals, I haven't really updated a whole lot. It's still looking very consistent to have the higher band of heavier snow, maybe even up to a foot north of Interstate 70, along I-70 and to the south, 6 to 10 inches, and then 1 to 4 inches south of Interstate 70, where we expect to have more of that ice working in. And any sort of shift in this band of ice, again, will make a big impact on those actual totals, so please just keep that in mind. So travel today, I'm just going to go ahead and say looks just fine. 32 for your afternoon high. It should be fairly pleasant. Any last minute stuff you need to do, or if you want to just go to dinner tonight, you're not going to be able to get out a whole lot this weekend. Saturday, likely delays and cancellations in the evening, and Sunday, I'm certain to have delays and cancellations through a good chunk of the actual day there. And I don't want to forget, Sunday's wind looks really strong, near blizzard conditions. It'll be blowing snow around, visibility down reduced, and look what happens to our temperatures after that. We are expecting very cold and bitter air to come in, dangerously cold to Monday morning, but your feels like temperatures each of the mornings next week down to 15 to 20 below zero, and then we will see those afternoon temperatures only in the teens as well. Zach, a large mix of stuff here creating a big issue this weekend.
Absolutely, but we will keep you updated on the latest with this storm in the First Warn 5 weather app. Download it to receive alerts for conditions in your neighborhood. You can also track the storm with live radar. Leaders across the region asking that you prepare now so you are off the roadways this weekend. We want to thank you for watching this breaking news update. We'll have an updated look at the forecast and the preparations for this winter storm starting at 3:30. We now return to